Chosen one, before this day blurs into all the others, stop here with me for a moment. Something about you being in this exact place, at this exact hour, is not ordinary, and it is not an accident. Your entire life has been leading you to this, not in a way that announces itself with thunder, but in the quiet way the most important things arrive, gently, on time, and only when you are finally ready to notice. Look back, and you will start to see it. The detours were never delays. The empty seasons were never punishment. Every turn you could not understand was carrying you, faithfully, toward the moment you are standing in right now. You were guided here by something far wiser than your own planning, and it does not waste a single step. So understand what this is. You are standing at a threshold your whole story has been walking toward, and just beyond it waits the greatest miracle your life has ever been close to. It will not force itself on you. It waits for you to believe it is real. Stay with me, chosen one, because everything you have lived was preparing you for what comes next. And before we go deeper, let me be honest with you about one thing. Everything I am about to share costs nothing. It is yours, freely. There is also a link resting in the description and in the pinned comment for the chosen one who already feels ready for it. No pressure. It will simply wait for you. I am asking you to stay with me all the way to the end of this message, because what unfolds here is meant to be received whole, not in pieces. By the time we reach the end, you will understand why your life has carried the weight it has carried. You will see the pattern hidden underneath your hardest years. You will recognize the threshold you are standing on right now, the one most people walk past without ever knowing it was there. You will learn how to step across it, instead of waiting on the wrong side of it for one more season. And near the close, there is a moment of sealing prepared, just for you, a turning point you will not want to miss. So, settle in, let the noise of the day fall quiet. The most important part is the part most people leave too soon. So, let us begin where your story actually begins. Not at the good parts, at the long road. You know the one. The years that asked more of you than they ever gave back. The doors that closed so softly you almost did not hear them shut. The prayers you whispered into the dark, wondering if the silence on the other side meant no one was listening at all. I am not going to pretend that road was easy, chosen one. It was not. There were mornings you got up with nothing left but a stubborn refusal to quit, and you got up anyway. There were seasons of waiting so long that you began to wonder if waiting was simply your life now, if the promise had passed you by. If everyone else had been handed a map while you were handed a wilderness. I want you to hear me clearly. That waiting was real. The exhaustion was real. The ache of watching time move while nothing seemed to change was real, and no one should ever tell you it was small. But here is what almost no one tells you. The long road was not a punishment. It was not the universe forgetting your name. It was something else entirely. And once you see it, you will never look back at those years the same way again. Think of the story that has been told for thousands of years about a man named Moses. People remember the ending, the sea splitting, the deliverance, the freedom. But almost no one talks about the part before that, the part that takes up most of his life. Moses spent 40 years in a palace, learning who he was not. Then he spent 40 more years in a desert, on the backside of nowhere, tending someone else's sheep, far from anything that looked like destiny. 80 years. 80 years of what looked like delay, of obscurity, of a life that seemed to be going nowhere. And then, one ordinary afternoon, in the middle of an ordinary task, he turned and saw a bush burning that would not burn up. That was the moment. That was the moment his entire life had been leading to. And here is the part you need to feel. He could not have stood in front of that fire at 20. He was not ready at 40. It took all 80 years, the palace and the desert both, to form the man who could carry what that moment required. The waiting was not wasted on him. The waiting was making him. And the same has been true for you. Every quiet year, every hidden season, Every stretch of road that felt like it led nowhere was doing the slow, invisible work of preparing you to stand where you are standing now. You were not behind. You were becoming. The desert was never the detour from your calling. The desert was the training ground for it. Now picture a river for a moment. Think about how it moves. It does not run in a straight line. It bends around the mountain. It cannot move. It slows to almost nothing through the flat, dry stretches. It splits and wins and doubles back, and from up close, it looks lost. But every twist, every slow place, every detour is carrying the same water toward the same sea. Your life has been that river, chosen one. The turns you did not choose were still the route. The years that felt like you were going backward were still moving you forward, just along a path you could not see from where you were standing. Nothing was wasted. The drought seasons fed the deeper current. The bends taught the water how to keep going when the easy way was blocked. And right now, after all the winding, all the waiting, all the slow and hidden miles, every stream of your story is finally arriving at the same place at the same time. You are not at a dead end. You are at the mouth of the river, and just ahead, the long journey opens into something far wider than you have ever known. Let me pause here for just a moment, because I do not want to rush past this. You have been carrying a lot for a long time, and maybe this is the first time someone has told you that none of it was for nothing. So before we go on, just let that settle. You do not have to do anything with it right now. You do not have to fix anything or figure anything out. Just rest in one simple truth. The road was long because the thing it was leading to was big. Breathe that in, slowly, and let it be enough for this moment. Then we will keep going. So now, let us talk about where you actually are. Because something has shifted, and I think you have already felt it. This season is not like the others. For years, the days blurred together, one indistinguishable from the next, the same weight, the same waiting. But lately, something feels different. There is a charge in the air of your life that was not there before. A sense that you are standing close to the edge of something, even if you cannot name it yet. That feeling is not your imagination, chosen one. It is recognition. Somewhere underneath your thoughts, the deepest part of you knows that the long road is coming to its turning point. You are not at the beginning of your story anymore. You are not lost in the middle of it. You are standing at the threshold, the narrow place where everything that came before meets everything that is about to come. Most people walk right past their threshold. They are so used to ordinary days that when the most important one finally arrives, quietly, looking like any other, they miss it completely. I do not want that to be you. So let me help you recognize it. Because a threshold you can see is a threshold you can cross, and the signs that you are standing on yours are already showing up all around you. The first sign is the wave of feeling that comes from nowhere. One moment you are fine, and the next your eyes fill with tears you cannot explain, or a quiet sadness moves through you, or a strange, soft hope rises up with no reason attached to it. This is not you being unstable. This is the deep part of you responding to a shift it can sense before your mind can understand it. The second sign is that your patience for the old life is running thin. The drama that used to pull you in now just drains you. The rooms you used to fit into feel too small. The conversations that once filled your time now feel hollow, and you find yourself wanting to step back from things you cannot fully explain. This is not you becoming cold. This is your spirit refusing to shrink back into a season you have already outgrown. The third sign is a restless urge to create, to build, to make something, even when you do not know what it is yet. There is an energy stirring in you that wants out, and it will not let you sit still. The fourth sign shows up in your circumstances. The timing of things has gotten strange. The right person says the right thing on the day you needed to hear it. Doors that were stuck for years suddenly move. Pieces line up in ways that are too precise to be luck. And the fifth sign is the word that keeps following you. A phrase, a song, a single idea that keeps appearing across places that have nothing to do with each other, as if something is trying to make sure you do not miss the message. None of these are random. Chosen one. They are the markers of a threshold. They are the signs that your moment is no longer far away. There is an old word for time that helps explain what is happening to you. In an ancient language, there were two different words for time. One of them simply meant the time on a clock, the ordinary minutes that pass without meaning. But the other word meant something completely different. It meant an appointed time, a moment set apart, marked in advance, chosen for a purpose long before it arrived. Your whole life has been moving through ordinary time, day after day after day. But the moment you are standing in now belongs to the other kind. It is an appointed time. It was set apart for you before you knew it existed. This is not just another minute on the clock of your life. This is the hour the clock was counting toward. And that changes how you stand in it. You do not drift through an appointed time. You wake up inside it. So how do you tell an appointed moment from just another day? It is simpler than you think. An ordinary day asks nothing of you. It lets you stay exactly as you are. But a threshold moment carries a quiet pull. It asks you to decide something, to release something, to step towards something you have been circling for a long time. If a moment is gently asking you to become more than you have been, to let go of the old story and pick up a new one, that is not an ordinary day. That is a doorway, and you are standing in one right now. Now I want to share something that very few people understand, and it connects to everything we have been talking about. There is a reason this threshold can feel so hard to cross, even when every sign is telling you it is time. And the reason is not spiritual weakness. It is something that was done to you, slowly, without your permission, starting when you were very young. Think back to who you were as a small child. You learned fast. You imagined freely. Ideas came to you out of nowhere, and the world felt full of wonder and possibility. That was not just childhood innocence. That was a specific state your mind was operating in, a kind of natural genius every child is born with. But somewhere, around the age of 7, something began to shut it down. The way modern life is built, the schooling, the routines, the constant noise, slowly switched off the very frequency that made you feel limitless. The researchers who studied this even gave it a name. They called it a decline, a fading of the brain's most powerful state, and almost no one is ever told it is happening. There is a scientist who spent his entire career studying this fading and how to reverse it. And what he uncovered was not a single trick, but a whole map, a full sequence for waking the sleeping mind back up, restoring the youthful brain you were born with, one stage at a time. I am only going to open the first door of that map for you today. But once you understand what was switched off in you, and that it can be switched back on, the threshold in front of you starts to look very different. Hold on to that. We will come back to it. And before we cross into the second half of this message, let me give you the name of that first door, so it is not a mystery hanging over you while we go deeper. The scientist I mentioned is a neuroscientist named Dr. Robert Lake, and after decades of research, he found a way to switch that lost frequency back on. He placed it into a single, simple audio recording. It is called the Genius Song. The way it works is gentle and strange and backed by real measurement. When you listen through headphones, the sound itself guides your mind back toward that lost state of natural genius, the same way a tuning fork pulls a string back into key. That is all I will say about it for now. If something in you already feels the pull, the link is resting in the description and the pinned comment, waiting quietly for you. There is no rush. Stay with me for the rest, because the part that matters most is still ahead. In a moment, I am going to show you exactly what your life has been leading toward, and the miracle that is waiting just past this threshold for the chosen one who is ready to receive it. Welcome back, chosen one. If you have stayed this far, it is because something in you already knows that the rest of this belongs to you. We spent the first half looking back at the long road, the wilderness, the slow and winding river of your life. Now we turn and look forward. Because everything we just talked about was leading somewhere, and it is time to show you where. So what is the miracle waiting just past this threshold? Let me tell you what it actually looks like, because it is rarely what people expect. For those who are truly stepping into this season, the change does not usually arrive as one loud, sudden event. It arrives as a reorganizing. Quietly, almost all at once, the major areas of your life begin to move into their right places. In your relationships, the connections that were draining you begin to loosen their grip, and the people who speak your language, who see what you carry, begin to find their way toward you. It may ache at first, because some goodbyes are part of the gift. So do not try to hold what is already leaving. Trust that just when you feel most alone, the right ones are already on their way. In your sense of purpose, the fog begins to lift. The thing you are here to do, the gift that has been restless inside you, starts to come into focus, and you stop wondering what your life is for. And in the area of provision, of the practical things you have worried over for so long, doors that were sealed begin to open in their own timing, often from directions you never expected. This is the shape of the miracle, chosen one, not a lottery ticket, a homecoming. The pieces of your life, scattered across all those hard years, finally gathering into the picture they were always meant to form. And in the middle of all this, I want you to hear something deeper than my voice. Because as I sit with what is being placed on my heart for you, I hear the divine speaking over your life, and the words are simple. I did not carry you through all of that to abandon you at the edge of this. I did not count every silent tear and forget your name. The road was long because I was building something in you that could not be rushed. And now, what I have prepared is greater than what you lost. Let those words land in the deepest place in you. You were never being ignored. You were being prepared. This is why the river had to wind the way it did. Every bend, every drought, every slow and hidden mile was carrying you toward this widening, this place where the long journey opens into open water. The miracle is not the rescue from your life. The miracle is the arrival of everything your life was quietly becoming, and you are closer to it now than you have ever been. But I have to be honest with you about the one thing that can keep you standing on the wrong side of this threshold, even with the miracle right in front of you. It is not the people who hurt you. It is not your past. It is a quiet voice inside that has learned not to believe the good is real. After a long enough road, hope starts to feel dangerous. You have been disappointed so many times that some part of you decided it was safer to expect nothing than to risk being let down again. So when something good starts to come, you brace for it to be taken away. You wait for the catch. You hold the blessing at arm's length, because believing in it feels like setting yourself up to be hurt. I understand that. That doubt was not foolishness. It was armor, and it protected you through seasons when nothing else did. But here is the truth you need now. The same wall that kept the pain out will also keep the miracle out. And the season in front of you is asking you to do the bravest thing you have done in a long time, to let yourself believe again. So let me speak some permission over you, the kind you may have been waiting a long time to hear. You are allowed to believe that your life is about to change. You are allowed to stop bracing for the worst. You are allowed to release the story that says, good things happen to everyone but you. You are allowed to step forward before you feel completely ready, because readiness is something you grow into by moving, not by waiting. And you are allowed to receive a miracle you did not earn through suffering, simply because it was always meant for you. This is who you are now. You are the one who turned pain into wisdom, who walked through the fire and came out carrying light for others. You are the one who goes first, who crosses the hard ground so the people behind you can find the way. You are the one who sees what others miss, and the one who ends the patterns that tried to end you. That is not who you are becoming. That is who the long road already made you. And just when you feel like you finally understand the whole picture, there is one more piece I have been holding back, the piece that ties the spirit and the practical together. Because believing is the beginning, but there is a reason that even when you decide to believe, the old heaviness can still cling to you, the fog can still roll back in, the focus can still slip away right when you need it most. There is a physical reason for that, rooted in what was switched off in you all those years ago, and there is a way to switch it back on. Remember the first door I promised to open? It is time to walk through it. Earlier, I told you about a scientist who spent his life studying the frequency that fades in us after childhood. Let me give you the full picture now. Dr. Robert Lake is a neuroscientist with more than 30 years behind his work, and the frequency he studied has a name. It is called gamma. Gamma is the brainwave linked to intuition, to learning, to those flow states where everything feels effortless and ideas arrive like gifts. Children live in it naturally. Most adults have lost it. Research from places like Princeton and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and a number of other leading institutions has measured this same fading again and again. Some have even suggested that a slower, quieter mind is easier for the modern world to manage, which may be part of why so few people are ever told that the genius they were born with can be restored. But it can. And the work of restoring it can be measured on the very instruments that recorded it disappearing in the first place. This is where your story and the science meet, chosen one. The natural genius that faded in you was not a small loss. It was the dimming of the very thing that made your spirit feel awake and alive and connected. When we talk about waking it back up, we are not talking about getting smarter. We are talking about coming home to the version of you that the long road has been trying to give back this entire time. There was a woman who wrote in, after a stretch of her life that had flattened her, months where her mind felt slow and grey and nothing seemed to move. She started listening for just 7 minutes a day. Within the first week, she said the fog began to lift. Within a month, ideas she had been blocked on for years started flowing again, and she made a decision that changed the whole direction of her work. She was not special. She simply gave the lost frequency a way back in. Now I know what some of you are thinking, because you have been let down before. You have tried the meditation that never seemed to take. You have tried the affirmations, the long mornings of effort that asked everything and gave little back. This is not that. There is nothing to practice, nothing to force, nothing to get right. You simply listen, and I know the other thought too. The one that says something this simple cannot possibly work. But the simplest tools are often the ones built on the deepest science. It does not feel like effort, because the work is being done by the sound, not by you. And before I tell you what it costs, let me settle the only question that really matters. Is it worth it? What Dr. Lake created is that single recording I named earlier, the genius song. 7 minutes. Headphones on, sitting right where you are. No meditation, no mantras, no waking up at 4 in the morning. Just 7 minutes a day, and the sound does the rest. So think about what people normally spend chasing this. A meditation subscription runs you around $15 a month, every month, often for years. A single session with a therapist can cost $150. A weekend retreat can run you anywhere from $400 to $800. There are even clinics that offer brain training for around $300 a visit, week after week. And not one of them is built to target this exact frequency the way this recording is. Dr. Lake took decades of that science and pressed it into something anyone could use, and the original price was $49, already a fraction of every other path. But because his real desire is to get this into the hands of the people who actually need it, the chosen ones who have been searching, he made it $39 for those hearing this message, a price you will not find anywhere else. And it does not come alone. It comes with 4 gifts, worth $80 on their own, included at no extra cost. There is a second recording made for a child's mind, calibrated for the young before the fading begins, worth $19. There is a rare book, the original source that inspired a famous teaching so many have read, worth $20. There is a guided journey through the 4 great areas of your life, worth 29. And there is a simple set of daily habits that keep the frequency awake. Once it returns, worth 12. $80 in gifts, included with a $39 recording, and all of it is protected by a full money-back guarantee, where you keep every one of those gifts, even if you decide it is not for you. More than 18,000 people have already used it, and fewer than 4 in 100 ever asked for their money back, which tells you almost everyone who tries it keeps it. I want to be honest about why I am telling you this now and not later. This lowered price was never meant to live forever. It exists because of where you are in this exact season, standing at this threshold, finally ready to believe again. The worst thing that could happen is that you understand all of this, you feel the truth of it, and then the day passes and the heaviness creeps back in, and you let the moment close without acting. Appointed times do not stay open forever. That is what makes them appointed. One thing I have to protect you on. Because so many people are searching for this, there are cheap imitations floating around that do nothing at all. The real recording, the one tuned correctly by Dr. Lake, is only found through the link in the description and the pinned comment, nowhere else. So if your spirit is saying yes, follow that link and let it be the key that opens the first door. And then come right back, because we are not finished. The most sacred part of this message is still ahead. So, let us stand at the end of the road and look at who you have become. You walked in, carrying years of waiting, and you walk out, standing in your appointed time. You walked in, believing the struggle meant nothing, and you walk out knowing it was the whole preparation. You walked in bracing against hope, and you walk out brave enough to receive. You walked in feeling like life had passed you by, and you walk out understanding that life was quietly building toward this all along. The river that wandered for so long is reaching the sea, and the one standing at the mouth of it is not the same person who first stepped into the water. You were never falling behind, chosen one. You were becoming the one who could carry what this moment requires. Let me tell you about someone who lived this. Not long ago, there was a man whose life had come apart at the seams. The work he had built collapsed almost overnight, and he found himself sitting in the wreckage of everything he thought was certain, convinced his best days were behind him. But instead of running, he got quiet. He stopped explaining himself to people who did not understand. He pulled back from the noise, and he spent a season simply tending the inner work, getting still, listening, letting himself be formed, instead of forcing the outcome. And then, one ordinary day, an opportunity arrived from a direction he had never even considered, larger than anything he had lost. He did not chase the miracle into being. He prepared himself in the quiet until the miracle could find him ready. That is the pattern. Stillness first. Then, the suddenly. Let me make this simple before we close, so you can carry it with you when the day gets loud again. 3 things. Your past was not wasted. It was the long preparation, and every hard mile was forming the person you are now. Your present is not ordinary. You are standing in an appointed time, a threshold made just for you, and your future is not a gamble. For the chosen one who steps forward and dares to believe, the miracle is not a rescue from your life. It is the arrival of everything your life was always becoming. Hold those 3 truths. They are yours now. No one can take them back. And now, before you go, let us seal this, not with a ritual you have to get up and perform, but with something you can do right where you are, in the quiet of your own mind. So picture the river one more time. See all the winding miles of your life behind you. Every bend, every drought, every season you thought you would not survive. And now, in your imagination, watch all of it flow forward and pour out into open water. Let it go. You do not have to carry the weight of those years across this threshold. Set it down in the current and let the river take it. Now see yourself standing at the mouth of the river, where the long journey meets the wide and open sea. And say this over your own life, silently if you need to, but mean it. I am not behind. I am exactly where my whole life was leading me. I am ready to receive what was always meant for me. And that is settled. That is sealed. Nothing can move it now. And as you stand here, hear the divine speak one last word over you. The word that has been waiting beneath all of this. You are not who you were when the road began. You are who I made you through it. Step forward. What is yours is already here. This is more than a single moment of comfort, chosen one. This is your destiny's embrace, the season your whole life has been reaching toward. And you are not crossing this threshold alone. All across the world, other chosen ones are standing at their own thresholds right now, feeling the same pull, hearing the same call. You are part of something waking up, and it is your turn to step into it. Before you step away, do one small thing to mark this moment. In the comments below, leave a single word. Type the word ready. Not for me, but for you. As a marker you can look back on, the place where you decided to believe again. And if this message reached something in you, let it reach others too. Somewhere out there, someone you know is standing at their own threshold today, exhausted, convinced their best days are behind them, about to walk past the most important moment of their life without seeing it. Share this with them. You might be the one who helps them recognize the door. If you want to keep walking this path, stay close, because there is more coming for the ones who are ready. And everything you need to take your first real step, the key we talked about, is waiting in the description and the pinned comment, along with the full story of how it works. Your entire life was leading to this. Do not let the moment close. Step through.